Hi, all. These are generally conversations between adults after the children have left the table. The language can be spicy and the subjects can get saucy. So if you're ready, this is the Southern Fork. Unscripted kitchen chats and also studio chats with some of the most interesting voices in the culinary South. I'm Stephanie Burt, a food and beverage writer based in Charleston, South Carolina, who travels with her fork to write for a variety of publications, from magazines you might have on your coffee table to the website you love to visit for your favorite recipes. And I'm inviting you to come behind the scenes with me to get to know the people who make this Southern culinary landscape so special. I'm always hungry for the next bite, thirsty for that next sip, and ready for the next conversation. Let's dig in. The Southern Fork is sponsored by Smithy Ironware. Smithy has been a supporter of this show for so long, you might not realize how much their line of cookware has grown in the past couple of years. In addition to a range of cast iron skillets, including my beloved number 12 skillet, Smithy recently launched a new carbon steel skillet that is hand-forged by blacksmiths on the old Charleston Naval Base. And then there's the new Dutch oven, which is a thing of beauty. Featuring the only fully polished cast iron interior in the industry and a tight-fitting lid with a signature brass knob, it's perfect for all that braising and roasting. And if you like to get outdoors this time of year, a welcome addition to your campsite cooking. Check out that and the whole line of Smithy Ironware at smithy.com. That's Smithy with an EY.com. And remember that something as well made as a smithy is an heirloom for every day. Use it well, and you can use it for life. Sometimes in the culinary world, we fall into the trap that being serious about craft has to mean a quote-quote serious restaurant. You know the kind. Bespoke aprons, Brandy Carlisle Spotify station on a sound system, farms listed on the menu, and a quiet pat-yourself-on-the-back attitude that you are dining well. But that doesn't have to be the case. At Preux and Proper in downtown Los Angeles, North Carolina native chef Sammy Monsour is cooking heritage cornbread to order. He's focused on sourcing sustainable seafood, and he has a grow case next to the bar filled with a variety of microgreens to trim fresh for every service. But the music's rollicking. The bogey classic Key Largo is likely playing on a screen in the dining room, and it's hard to miss the sparkle of copper swan punch bowls filled with alcoholic fun flying off the bar top. Since my visit, this Culinary Institute of America grad has had to shutter his restaurants temporarily. But he's brought his solid knowledge of Southern ingredients and dry humor to Apaco Lockdown Kitchen, my favorite pandemic cooking show on Instagram. You can access it by following him on that platform, but of course, only after you listen to the following. Welcome to the Southern Fork.
Thanks for having me.
This is the sexy Southern Sunset edition of the Southern Fork today.
In Silver Lake.
In Silver Lake. So that's fun for the mic. It likes all those S's, right? But thank you so much for dealing with rush hour traffic to come over and chat with me today, because I had a great meal the other night at Preux and Proper, and I thought, why not? Let's tell the Southern Fork listeners about your background, your story, and how you feel about certain things. So here we are. We made it work.
Yes, I love it. I'm so happy to be talking right now.
Oh, good. Oh, good. So Chapel Hill, let's get it out of the way. I'm a Tar Heel. North Carolina, born and bred. You are too, and you worked in your dad's restaurant.
Yeah,
right?
my parents had a restaurant in Chapel Hill. It was in Timberline Shopping Plaza, which was by the old movie theater next to a Food Lion. It was called Bud Neb's Bar and Grill. It was there for a little over 10 years. It's where I started washing dishes when I was about 12. And then I thought, hey, I sure would love to learn how to use that knife and cook on that fire. All the big guys were doing it, and it just seemed so badass. And so I just fell in love with it, and I've been doing it ever since.
Well, you're doing it really well. The octopus the other night, so delicious. I'm so happy that we can talk about that a little bit. But you caught this bug, and then you moved around, but then you really made a home here in LA. What is it about LA that speaks to your sensibilities, besides its proximity to Burning Man?
It is very convenient to the burn. I went to college in New York at the CIA in Hyde Park, and then I traveled around and then ended up in Boston, and I just had another move in me. I mean, I was in the Northeast in total for almost 15 years. So I had another move in me, and I've always loved California. So I had to decide where in California. Mm-hmm. And it was really either LA or San Francisco,
right,
because I'm thinking food scene, restaurant scene, community.
Right.
Where do I want to try to get involved in?
Totally.
And I picked LA because I love the weather, and a couple of my best friends from culinary school live out here. So I thought, look, I miss that southern weather. I miss that spring starts in March. Mm-hmm. And so I was done with the precipitation and the clouds. So I said, LA, baby, which was like a huge risk. And I didn't really think about it. Sometimes I'm like, a couple years after I moved here, LA kind of took the crown as best food and restaurant city from New York. And I have confidence, but I'm not insanely confident about certain things, and I'm not a competitive person. And so had I known LA was going to be this sought after mecca of cuisine and dining, I might have been more intimidated than I was to move out here.
It's good sometimes to not know what you're getting into.
Exactly.
To say yes before you know all the details, if it feels right.
Yeah, exactly. I'm so glad I'm here, but it is very difficult to be successful in LA.
Right.
And you don't just go, hey, I'm successful now. It's you've got to stay on your grind and hustle and keep getting better, or else somebody else, there's just so many options, somebody else is going to take it from you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the other night when I was there, it was I got there at 5:01. There were already 2 tables. That was a little normal. And then by 5:45, 6, it was crushing.
It was
just
busy.
Super busy. So that high volume, you're still working a station? What is up with that?
I thought it was super serendipitous that octopus that you were the one thing you mentioned. I was I cooked that. It doesn't happen every night.
Yeah.
But on that particular night, we had a lot on the books. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The books were maxed out, and I have an executive chef and a chef de cuisine. And it was just kind of who wants to expo, who wants to stay on the back end and support and plan for how we, what does tomorrow and the next day look like? Because we know we're going to run through all our me's, and then someone's going to jump on the line. And it's just, I just wanted to get on the line and cook, and bounce around on all the stations for an hour or 2 at a time to just be with the guys, cook, see what they're doing, see how I can show them, this is a more efficient way. Let's cook mindfully, especially because I haven't done it in a long time. I haven't jumped on the line like that in months. So
it was
for them to
serendipitous
see,
for sure.
Yeah. It's not like a typical Saturday night thing. So for me to jump on there with a new set of eyes and to show them things, because once you get into your routines, you think, hey, this is the way to do it.
Yeah, totally.
And for cooking, it's more of a mental game than it is a physical sport. And so it was just cool.
It's a hell of a physical sport.
It is. Oh, it is. It's physically draining. But
yeah.
So, a lot of the younger cooks think that being able to cook timely on a busy night means that you move faster, but that's where it becomes a mental game, right?
Right.
It's just that you know your next 20 steps constantly all day, communicate, know what you got to get out and know what you got, the next 3 things, 5 things,
right.
Plate on purpose, make moves on purpose. Don't try to flip your whole board at once because it's going to slow you down.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just good to be in there and to have that experience. I remember when I was a young cook and chef would jump on the line, I'd be like, how the fuck's he so good? He's never on the line. And
You're like, what are you doing?
I think you just realize it's not about moving fast. It's about making moves on purpose.
Right. Yeah. Intention. It's all about intention. Well, I know that sustainable seafood is such a big focus for you. And it's one of the things I wanted to talk about. And I think the octopus is a good segue for that, because I have been asking local chefs on the East Coast, do you source octopus here? Can you source octopus here? Because we're seeing it obviously in the South. We're a little behind, certain things happen in New York and then San Francisco. It's not behind necessarily. It's just the way it is. You have culture leaders and then you have adopting. But octopus has been on menus for, I don't know, at least 7 years. It's pretty steady in the South. And when that happens, I keep thinking, where are you sourcing this? Are you able to source locally for octopus or?
No.
Yeah.
I source pot caught Spanish octopus.
Yeah.
Now the species is Spanish octopus. It's actually caught off the coast of Morocco.
Oh. So, it's just one of those things. I'm like, well, we have them here. It's how to get that, how to deal with that.
It's a really deep subject to talk about sourcing seafood in general.
Yeah, exactly.
And obviously the Monterey Bay Aquarium has their pocket guide, which is also an app, Seafood Watch. It's free. And if you said to yourself, hey, I want to buy U.S. wild caught octopus, you could pop open that app.
Right.
It's good on Android. It's good on Apple.
I use it. I use it when I'm at the grocery store.
Yeah. And it'll tell you. For me, what I'm looking for when I'm sourcing seafood, I have a lot of things to consider. It's not just buying it for home, but buying it for the business.
Totally.
And fortunately, one of the cool things about being in LA is that I don't necessarily have to worry about cost because I'm in a city that I can charge. So if it means that buying the best duck breast from Sonoma County means that duck breast itself costs me $14.
Right.
And I know I could get a whole Long Island duck for $14, 2 breasts, 2 thighs, right? But I could charge $56 for a duck breast entree in LA and no one's going to bat an eye. So fortunately, cost isn't a concern when I consider how I buy my seafood.
That's good. That's really, really cool. Now, it's definitely a dream. Preux and proper is a New Orleans kind of Creole dream. And it's a little bit of a fever dream because it's wild and crazy in there. It feels a little bit like you're over a New Orleans street sitting on the second floor. And you're doing a lot of interpretation of Southern ingredients. But do you feel your Southernness more being outside of the South? I mean, Chapel Hill is an amazing food scene too.
Absolutely.
Do you feel like more creative freedom? Do you feel like your cooking has shifted here in LA?
Yeah. I'm a very heady person, and so I like to work inside the confines of the concept of which is Southern cuisine.
Right.
Because
and it's so many different cuisines, right?
In my opinion, Southern cuisine is the great American identity of food, and because of that, you're right. You've got Appalachian, you've got Low Country, you've got
Cajun versus
Creole,
right?
Right. You've got all of the barbecue states. You've got Tex-Mex. You've got Floridian. I mean, it's like you have
Florida Cracker for Greg Baker.
I mean,
right?
you just have you have access to like an incredible amount of flavors and techniques and the cool stories to go with it, to where it's like endless inspiration.
Yeah.
And so I think that being in LA, what that does for me is it makes me feel like I don't have to cook North Carolinian food because I'm in North Carolina, for example.
Right.
Now, with that being said, I mean, I learned how to make crawfish etouffee at my daddy's restaurant in Chapel Hill when I was 13.
Right.
So like, obviously you don't just only cook Carolinian food in the Carolinas.
No, it's a language, and you can choose what language you want to speak.
Yeah.
Whenever and wherever you want to speak it, I think.
Yeah. And you know, I go to the South a lot and I dine in the South a lot. And so I do constantly get inspiration from my experiences, as well as, you know, we bring a lot of ingredients from the South to bring the terroir of the South as well. So we have some truly authentic experience, not just through my straightforward classics,
right?
But also using the seasons here, but using the seasons that are happening at home. There's just so many different ways to go. And that's how you can have such a wacky, fucked up, like like eclectic menu like we have. Cause like the section that's like, you know, neighborhood favorites, it's basically like, it's basically just saying like your soul food classics, like a couple of them, right?
Right. List a couple of them. The cornbread,
the mac and cheese, which are both like roasted off in cast iron to order. So they're going out right. They've got like great ingredients, you know, heirloom grains, good Kentucky sorghum on that cornbread. And then, you know, it's like, there's not many places where you're going to go get like a baked skillet of mac and cheese with like a sharp cheddar crust on top. The way that you would casserole that at home.
Right. The baked mac and cheese is a completely different animal than, you know, the smoother mac and cheese.
Yeah, that steam table.
Yeah, that steam table thing.
And it really bothers me when I go to like a nice restaurant, like when I say nice, like expensive restaurant, and there's like macaroni and cheese on the menu, and I get it. And like, it's that bullshit, like they didn't bake it.
Yeah.
Mac and cheese where they like heated their bechamel or whatever up, and they probably dropped the noodles in simmering water and treated it like a pasta dish pickup where they tossed it in the sauce. And I'm like, that's not fucking mac and cheese. Like that's Kraft stovetop mac and cheese. And this is like $36. So like figure out how to make it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like that's delicious, but it's missing that, you know, and obviously it's hard to do. The hardest part of making that mac and cheese at the restaurant is cleaning the skillets all night long. These guys get backed up.
Yeah.
You got to clean the skillet right.
Yep.
Right? No chemicals.
Yes.
You got to scrape it clean. And then you got to re-oil every single one of them.
And cheese and skillet. Cheese and skillet is...
It's a very, you know what I mean? And sometimes I think, man, what could I do to make it easier? And then I'm like, nothing.
Right.
Like
right.
sometimes you just gotta. So then we have the Nashville hot chicken. We have a pimento cheeseburger with my sister Jenny's pimento cheese recipe, which is always a hit on the holidays. You know, with some pepper jelly and Ritz crackers.
Pepper jelly and Ritz cracker. I mean, come on. We used to. Did y'all do the cream cheese? You get the block of cream cheese, and then you just pour a whole jar of pepper jelly over it.
You know, I never got put onto that until college when one of my friends, Emily, from Atlanta, she took the cream cheese and like a sweet red bell pepper jelly and Ritz crackers, and we were at like a house party during the holidays, and I was like, what the fuck? She also blew my mind with like some Spam. She did something with Spam because she had like Hawaiian roots, and so she did something with Spam. I can't remember what it was, but it was like total like Hawaiian junk food. Yeah, and I was like, I love you. You know?
Yeah, I've also had the variation, which is the tube of wasabi squirted over it.
Really?
Yeah.
Over what? Cream cheese? That sounds like a treat.
With rice crackers.
Okay.
It's just a variation, you know, but it's It's an unelegant preparation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you
I
just got to
love
squeeze a
stuff like
tube
that.
of it out.
But like if that was rooted in the South, like somebody was trying to get like fancy without messing it up.
Yeah.
And that's why I stay inspired by the South. A lot of my friends are like amazing chefs in the South. Just to name a couple, like I'm talking about like Virginia Willis,
Hey, Virginia.
Steven Satterfield.
Yes.
I know you know Steven.
Yes.
Billy D. I don't want to like rant, but like I'm inspired by these people because like I stay close with watching what they're up to.
Right.
Dine at their restaurants when I'm in town. I was just up in Monterey with Virginia like a few months ago.
Oh yeah, and William Disson was there.
Yep,
too,
Billy was
right?
there. Yeah. And he had a Bless Your Heart t-shirt on, which was priceless.
Well, how often do you change the menu at Preux and Proper? Do you like just kind of massage it as needed, or is it pretty standard?
So I mean, it's changed so much over the years. Now, there's some dishes that like the set changes seasonally, like the beef rib. We're about to change that set right now. It's got a pot liquor demi, which we basically make a roasted pork neck stock, and the mirepoix is onions, garlic, and lots of collards. So then we reduce that down like a demi, and that's where we get the pot liquor demi. And that's got yams, like a mushroom, charred leek verde, crispy parsnips. But we're going to be rolling into a spring set on that dish.
Gotcha.
So, but we always have a beef rib.
Right.
And then a few other things like our fish tacos on the bar room menu is a seasonal, like we'll change the fish out every month and the dressing out. Right now it's like inspired by Hoppin' John. So we have this like it's like a charred scallion and tomatillo pico de gallo with like tons of black eyed peas in it.
Yeah.
And then a Calabrian chili remoulade, some mustard frills. It's a blackened red fish, local tortilla fried in bacon fat. So like a cool riff on Hoppin' John.
Yeah.
But just disguised as a fish taco for LA because we can't get enough tacos, damn it. And I love it.
I had tacos today. Yeah.
Where'd you go?
Guisados.
I was going to say, if I got here and you didn't have time to do this, I was going to go, get in the car, we're going to Guisados.
It was awesome.
Did you get like a horchata or
I got, no, I didn't. I got a Jamaica.
Okay.
And then the sampler.
The purple drink you
Yeah.
It's like, I think hibiscus
tea.
Yeah.
It's an agua
That was
fresca.
really good.
Yeah, I love that.
They have a cantaloupe agua fresca that is insane. I don't even really I like cantaloupe and sometimes I love it, but that
it's
like,
just so fresh.
When I go there, I just make us, we all like, no matter how many people I'm with, whether it's 2 or 10, like I have to get all of their drinks.
Yeah.
Because they're all incredible. Like they only do like NA beverages, like horchata, and
oh yeah.
The frescas, but I'm like, how are these so good?
Yeah. It was excellent. And I was like, this is it. I got it. And I got to see them making the tortillas and all of that. So that to me is a very important experience to have.
It is. And you went to the one in Silver Lake.
I went to the one in Echo Park.
Echo Park, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in my head because I don't know any better. But yeah, and that's the one to go to because they've got a few now. But I love that one because it's got this like rich neighborhood culture and they have the mural.
Oh, yeah.
One of my friends, K-Fish, did that mural.
It's so cool.
It's just like this mural of the neighborhood.
It's really great.
Yeah.
It's really, really great. How do you feel that the kind of sourcing that you do, the kind of focus that you have on, really specific ingredients, how do you think that teaches? I know you're big into chef's lead and really focusing on how chefs can really impact the culture. Why is that so important to you?
Well, I just think that if you're lucky enough to have a platform that it would be really cool if you did something positive about it.
Yeah.
I'm 36, so I'm still pretty young. But when I was 26, I got my first job as an opening executive chef. I actually got to like build the kitchen out with the engineer. It was insane. And it was so hard. And this was in Boston. And like after a year, I was like so fucking burnt out. And I was like, I did it. I made like, that's super young. But for me in my life, it took me 14 years to get there. So it felt like I really worked hard for a long time to earn it.
Right.
But then I was like, what's next? Like, so I'm now an executive chef for the rest of my life for like 40 years. And right around that time, there was this, I got invited to participate in an Earth Day event where it was like, hey, put some Bristol Bay sockeye salmon on the menu for Earth Day and campaign to stop pebble mining. And I did that. And I didn't know anything about Bristol Bay pebble mining threats at the time.
Right.
And I did it and I put it on the menu and my customers like totally engaged and they were like, this is awesome. And like, I didn't even donate money to anything. It was just that we activated the conversation.
Right.
And I was so juiced up off of that. And Chefs Collaborative was headquartered out of Cambridge, Massachusetts, right across the Charles River from me at the time. And so I just started doing more and more with them. And then I realized, hey, like, this could be what keeps me going. Like that there's bigger things than just coming up with cool ideas and, you know, and it's just added so much richness to my get out of bed. And it's given me, I think, great lessons to teach my cooks and my chefs as well.
I totally
you go down that rabbit hole.
I understand that. Yeah. It's like with me when I get published and then I'm like, yay. But like, okay, somebody told me about 2 years ago, okay, you're in the room. You need to quit saying, look, I'm in the room. Figure out, you're in the room. What do you want to say?
Yeah, I love it.
And that's like the hardest thing. You know, what do I want to say? Obviously, I was compelled enough to get there. So what do you want to say? So, and that's what keeps me. It adds a lot of richness too. So
it's amazing.
Yeah,
it takes time. You do have to like, I mean, even recently, 2 years ago, I had to go, hey, like, chill out a little bit on yourself, man. Like, you're there. Like, you got where you wanted to be. Yeah, you can do more. You can build something. You can build something bigger than what you've got, but like, relax and just focus on, enjoy what you've got and then make it better.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where we really started to go. I'm just blessed to be surrounded by amazing people, like all over the place. I mean, we're doing I know this is off topic, but it's so on topic to what I mean by that. How do I illustrate that?
Right.
I had attended this, workshop at Miller Union and Stephen was telling everybody about how they're doing a 3-bin waste management system where composting and recycling is the majority of their waste footprint. And, you know, that really inspired me. And now we do that at the restaurant and we've done it for about 2 years. We were the first restaurant to take the lead on this with the city and we've partnered with the city to try to get other restaurants. And I'm not saying that because like I want to brag about it. I'm saying that because I was inspired by Steven and it popped up out here in LA.
Right.
And I said to the city, hey, I want to compost. And it's not like I was the reason why they started the Recycla program, but they knew that there was operators that were interested in this and they implemented that.
Yeah.
Because people wanted it.
That's how change happens.
And it is. And I'm just going to keep talking about that.
Right.
And being like, do you know how easy it is to do that, to implement that into your restaurant right now in the city of LA?
Right.
You can work with whoever your trash hauler is and you can start recycling tomorrow and save money.
Right.
And you can start composting and spend a little bit of money. But if you went to a full 3-bin system as a restaurant operation in the county of Los Angeles, you would save money. Like your staff would be just like jazzed up about it. Like, wait, we're composting now. We're recycling now.
Well,
you know what I mean? Your customers would feel good about it and you're actually making
and they
changes.
will take that home too. I mean, that's just how it is. You get used to it and then you will implement that and you know, your employees will implement that,
and then,
your staff.
You know, and one of the things that you learn from it, you start to realize like, hey, the compost bin isn't an excuse to feel good about throwing away edible food. So then you start to see what you would normally throw away, and you go, wait a second, like
Steven is the master of that.
Yeah,
he really is.
The other thing that I started doing as soon as I got back from that trip was I said, we got to stop throwing out these beet tops. Because he did these beet stem crackers and he was telling us all these things to do with beet stems. And I was like, I love beet greens. At home, I keep them, clean them,
Me too.
and saute them.
Yeah.
At the restaurant, we just threw them out. So now it's like, we got like a beet green chimichurri and pickled beet stems. And, we throw beet greens into our spicy carrots and roast them and get them crispy. And it's like, as opposed to just throwing them in compost and feeling good about it. I don't even know how we got here, but what was the conversation?
That's okay. Because the segue is...
sustainability. It's fun.
Sustainability.
It's going down the rabbit holes and seeing how far you can go.
Yeah. Which brings me to the set of questions at the end, which is the first of which is, what makes you hungry? I'm guessing rabbit holes like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hungry for learning. Yes. Being outside of my comfort zone, being around great people that inspire me, just to hear them talk and go, whoa, I need to learn that.
Right.
I want to be able to understand that to the depth that they have understood so that they can actually talk about it. When you can articulate on a subject, then you have the depth of understanding that you could implement it, or at least choose to implement it partially because you understand why you can't do it all the way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. What is one aspect of your job that you have chosen for yourself that really highlights an aspect of your personality? Fits like a puzzle piece.
I would say it's the Friday lessons. So every Friday we shut down the kitchen for 30 minutes. And everyone stays clocked in. Guests can't order food. This is something that I started about 3 months ago and I love it. It's cost the business money. So this demonstrates my passion to give back and to not lead by a P&L, to make decisions by a P&L. But I think education is so important. It's important to me to learn. And so this is where I give a lesson to my cooks uninterrupted for 30 minutes, whether it's a PowerPoint presentation, it's doodles on a piece of paper, whatever it is, there's a subject we go over and, we have time for questions and then we just keep cooking and it marinates and over the next week and we get to connect dots as time goes on. But that's the one thing I would say right now.
I love that. Friday lessons.
Yeah. It's neat.
It's neat. What keeps you up at night? P&Ls?
No. Figuring stuff out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
just
do.
I do. Just trying to figure stuff out. I wish I could tell you what had me sending an email at 3 a.m. the other night, because it did. And I was like, I felt good about it. I was like, maybe I shouldn't send this email. Sometimes I don't like people to know that I'm sending emails at 3 a.m. because I'm worried that they'll be like, what's wrong with that guy? Yeah. But then I'm like, who gives a fuck? Like, I'm my own boss and it's not like I did it drunk. Like I'm just trying to stay on top of this.
Right.
So just trying to figure stuff out. It could be an ingredient. It could be we were trying to figure out what's missing on that dish, or it could literally be like, how that's not efficient. Like, what do I need to do to fix that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just working it.
Yeah.
Working it in your
just
mind.
Making
all
it
the time.
keep fine tuning everything.
Yeah. I love it. Okay. So in this little scenario, I have a magic picnic basket. Okay. And I also have the ability to time travel, to conscript anybody to cook for you, and also to cook and source a little bit myself. So what's going to be in that basket?
Okay. All right. In that case, I want my Teta's Sunday spread. Okay. My Teta came to America from Beirut, Lebanon, through Ellis Island in the 1918. And I got to grow up until I was 8. She was still alive. And every Sunday she would cook. Well, she cooked dinner every night. But so I'm talking, I would want like her braised lamb, her chicken over rice, obviously her hummus, her baba ganoush, her pita bread, her spinach pies, her lamb pies, her kibbe. I want everything that she can make on that Sunday spread. And then I just want you to go enjoy this. I want something out of that picnic basket from you if I get to choose.
Excellent.
Maybe you could do the sweets.
I'll do a pound cake.
Okay.
How about that?
Can you put some bourbon in there for me?
Yes, I can. Well, on that note, if you want to learn more about Sammy and Preux and Proper and the family of restaurants here in beautiful, sunny, but extremely windy today, LA, you can go to thesouthernfork.com. I'm going to have links there as well as images so you can see the face and probably some tattoos behind that voice. You can also click there and subscribe, listen to that on your favorite podcast app. You know, subscribe makes everything easy. Then it's just there waiting for you when you're ready. But if you like what you hear, I like doing this job. It's pretty fun. Even when we're drinking $13 Mountain Valley water.
It costs $1.30 wholesale. I know because we buy it.
Thanks so much for coming to Silver Lake Poolin' In today.
Thanks for having me. Let's take a dip.
Hello and welcome to Talking with My Mouth Full. All you lovelies out there in listener land, you are, at least some of you, are probably in the midst of either planning or planting a garden. And today I'd love to make the case for planting a couple unusual or what I would call heirloom varieties. Biodiversity is something that I'm pretty passionate about, and I don't think that we talk that much about it. I know that Chef Sammy Monsour, who you just listened to, is also very passionate about that. And it really comes down to the idea that having more varieties of vegetables and plants is really good for the planet and is also good for our own personal biology. Like, it's good to eat a variety of things, right? So as you're planting your garden, you can get in on the Biodiversity Act if you'd like, even by just choosing something that you would normally grow or choosing an heirloom. So home improvement store, you're usually going to be buying hybrids, and they can be great, and hybrids definitely have a place in the world because they can be drought resistant or disease resistant, but it's fun to try an heirloom or two. So last year I tried to grow a variety of kale, but this spring I'm going to try buttercup squash, and it will take a long time to mature and that kind of thing, but I saved the seeds from an heirloom buttercup squash last year. So it doesn't have to be a lot of money, and getting heirloom plants and seeds isn't really hard, especially right now in the pandemic, because you can just Google heirloom seeds. I like to follow the Seed Savers Exchange on Instagram, and I have also purchased from the Baker Creek Seeds before, and they are out of the Midwest. But anyway, I am just asking you to please consider planting something a little diverse in your garden plot this year, and I look forward to hearing about it. So happy gardening, happy spring, and stay safe. Until next time. You've been listening to The Southern Fork. I can't wait to bring you more culinary conversations, but in the meantime, I have one question. Are you gonna eat all that?